Alright, so we're gonna head to fish market, and this recipe is something that my mom always cooks for me at home. And during filming and MasterChef for about, I think it was like 5 months, I was trying to figure out how to make this really delicious fish soup that my mom always makes. It's spicy, it's sour, almost like a tom yum. It's herbaceous as well. It's got turmeric, heaps of chilies, which is what I love, heaps of spice there. And when I found out the recipe, it's so simple. And there's one secret ingredient, and that's is
I got my brother with me as well because he knows the fish soup, and it's Reynold, so it's the oldest brother. I know he looks like my second brother. And we're looking for a blue-eye cod, and holy shit, it's fucking huge. So when you're looking for a fish, you want something that's like the flesh, it looks nice and shiny, it's firm, and the eye, it's not sunken in. And the thing with blue eye, the weird part about it, say that one there, I wouldn't take that one. These two are looking really good. The hardest part of blue eye is because the eyes are actually blue. It looks like it's really dead, but it's... I'm actually talking a lot of trash right now, so I'm not really sure. Just feel the flesh, and it's nice and firm. It's good. Rice? Ice. Oh, ice. Oh, okay. No, thank you. It's actually really handy. It's perfect bag, it fits. I don't think I've ever come out of a fish market holding a bag like this with a massive ass fish. Next thing we're gonna get some is some of the spices and the herbs for the soup. And the best thing about this is actually all in one big pot. It's a one pot wonder kind of dish. Oh, good. Oh, that's not good. Oh my shit. Alright. This is So we got our fish, we got our vegetables, we've got all of the herbs that we need and spices. And again, this is the best recipe because for me it's comfort, reminds you of home, mom's cooking. I'm gonna be making a whole heap of this. So I'm gonna be distributing it all around to my staff, so my chefs, my friends, my brother, and as well as to my mom, maybe my grandma as well, and see what she thinks. My brother says that I cook it better than my mom, so that's a huge compliment because he never compliments me usually. He just says, yeah, it's okay. So yeah, we'll see. You know what? Even I can teach you how to make it too.
Yeah.
I'm actually, yeah, this is a little masterclass for you now.
Like, I thought it's gonna be hard to make it.
No, it's actually so easy. It's so easy to make. Alright, back in the kitchen, and I am not cooking a dessert, okay? This is something for me that's quite close to my heart and to the family. Mum's yellow fish soup. She usually uses a lot of fish head because there's a lot of collagen, a lot of flavor into it as well. But this time, I've got a big ass blue eye, about 6 kilos worth from the fish market. But you know what? I'm gonna cook a whole heap of it. Maybe not all of it, but I just show you to utilize the whole fish. the head, the bones, the fins, and everything we're going to utilize because there's no waste. What I love to kind of pair up with this dish, of course, is rice. I can't eat this dish without rice. I can't eat soup without rice. As an Asian, I suck at cooking rice without a rice cooker. Every Asian must have a rice cooker in their household. So first things first, I've got is Koshihikari rice, which is sushi rice. I like this more because it's actually a lot healthier. It's got great texture and flavor, and it's low in GI. So what we're gonna do first is actually rinse off the excess starch. So I'm gonna pop this in water. So you'd want to kind of wash the rice off the excess starch until the water becomes clear. All right, so I'm gonna go drain this out first. And the measurements, so I had about this much rice. You only need that much water as well. So I've got my rice cooker here, and I've drained out as much of the water as possible. I'm gonna pop it into my rice cooker. Now for the water. Usually I go by feel. It's the pinky or the index finger. Pop it in for white rice, and that's that. Now the next thing we're gonna start working on is the actual base and the flavor of this dish, which is a lot of Southeast Asian herbs and spices. So we're gonna cut these bad boys up. So you wanna get all your vegetable prep done first, and then we're gonna put everything into the pot and cook it until it's fragrant. So I've got a mixture of green and red chilies as well. It's up to you what you want. I'm gonna cut them into these little lengths. I'm not gonna de-seed them as well because I want as much spice as possible. All right, so the big chilies we cut, the little chilies we keep. Then next up, we're gonna have our garlic, and we're gonna use the whole bowl. Depends on how much garlic you want. Again, we're not gonna chop this up at all. We're not gonna slice it. It's only gonna be lightly crushed, because once it gets all cooked out, it becomes really sweet, soft, and tender. And since we're making this for a lot of people, it's gonna be a lot of garlic. It's not exactly chopped up. It's not exactly whole. You can have it whole. It's just enough to release the oils and the flavor, but we also don't want to lose it in the soup. We want to see those flavors. We want to see the herbs. All right, so you can see the flavors now. You can already see all the colors. It's looking good already. And we're going to bring in some yellow. Get that turmeric in. Quick toss. Kind of lightly coat the spices. And this ginger is going to come in quite whole. We're not going to take it out from the soup because we want to get that as much flavor as possible. Bam, ginger's peeled. All we're going to do is just roughly chop them. About yay big and about yay thick. And I'm going to use some galangal. I'm going to use about half of this. Now galangal is used a lot in Southeast Asian cooking as well. This makes a huge difference in flavor. Gonna slice up our eschallots. You can use red onion, you can use brown onion. I love to use eschallots because it's so versatile. So about 4 eschallots, pop it into your bowl. Gonna add a little bit more turmeric because we want all the vegetables to be covered in this. This is what makes it yellow. Into a pot. My eyes are burning. Into a pot, gonna get some grapeseed oil, peanut oil, coconut oil, whatever you want. You don't want too much oil, just enough to kind of coat the pot. Ah, it burns. Always. Once your oil is hot, what we're gonna do is cook the vegetable. It still burns. Cook the vegetables until it's... Woo. Once your oil is hot, we're gonna cook the vegetables until it's really fragrant, and then we're gonna add our tomatoes in, and then we're gonna add our kaffir lime leaf in, get that fragrant as well. And lastly, we're gonna add our fish stock, which while this is all cooking, we're gonna fillet this, we're gonna cook the fish bones, get that fish broth happening, get the gelatin as much of it out,
and it'll be sweet. I'm starting off at a low heat because I don't want to burn the ground turmeric. It's nice and chunky, but remember, there's a lot of water there. There's a lot of water content there. It's all going to be dragged out. It's going to reduce and it's going to shrink. While the herbs are cooking away, we're going to prep our tomatoes. So we're going to use the quarter of these tomatoes. Nice and chunky. That's looking fragrant, smelling good. 5 pieces of lime leaf in there. Tomatoes in. And turn your heat down to low to medium. All right, it's time for the beast. The absolute monster. I thought it was small, but it's freaking huge. It's like doing bicep curls. All right, filleting fish. Everyone dreads of it. I used to dread of it. So we're gonna go behind the collar, and a little trick to get the collar off. So if you can see here, there is a little plate in almost every single fish. We're gonna run our knife through, right there. It's very easy, all the way up to the head. 2 fins. Run our knife right there. Bam, follows right up, goes with the ribs. Very easy, pull it right out. Yeah, okay. I'm actually not gonna use the whole fish. It is just too big. You can use smaller fish like a snapper or Murray cod, as long as it's a nice fleshed fillet. Pull out. Now we're left with this. Now it's up to you. I like to kind of break the head first. But before you do that, I actually screwed up. You should kind of make an incision on the head first before you do that. All right, there you go. Head off. Bang. I'm not a big fan of filleting with fins on because they always seem to stab me in the hand. Off. Now you're stabby free. Incision on the tail. So one there at the very end. I'm gonna run this down the spine. And it's actually easier to fillet a bigger fish than it is for a smaller fish. So see, you can hear my knife, the tip of my knife going through all the time. And this is the part that I hate the absolute most, which is the ribs. I don't want to use this knife to kind of hack through it. You can use scissors, kind of release the bone, but for a bigger fish, it can get a bit too tough to cut through. There you go. First fillet's done. I'm gonna flip to the other side. There we have our second fillets. I'm gonna use this one and just the one. So I'm gonna wipe down my bench, and this we're gonna use to make the fish stock. I've got some warm water, which is just below simmering. I'm gonna wipe the bench, and this here, what we wanna do, we wanna try to remove the ribs, which is the part of the belly. I do a cheat move, which is basically running down your knife down the middle. You got your loin. That's your loin right there. That's the best part. We're gonna use that. This one here will also go to the stock. All right, we've got the belly part. We've got the offcuts. Pop them in. Everything. Collars.
I'm gonna use the belly part for another use. I'm gonna use the other fillet as well for another dish. But for now, we're just gonna use this one big loin. This will be enough for about 8 people or less. So I like to keep the skin on because I love the fish skin. I want to kind of show you guys a little quick trick on one, how to know when the fish is perfectly cooked and poached. And two, if you want to take this off, we'll take the skin off. So I want to keep a little bit. So for portion wise, let's do 3 nice portions. And we'll keep one. I'll show you when it's perfectly cooked, the skin can peel off so easily. And for this one, we'll just skin the whole thing. Smaller knife. And all we're gonna do is run a knife very, very flat, almost by the board. And all we're doing is just teasing that skin backwards and forwards, left and right. And it comes right off. And there you have perfectly skinned fish. That's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. It's a good lunch. We're gonna set aside the fillets, and then from now on, we're just gonna wait until the fish stock is done. So here, if you have a look, skinned and unskinned. Completely up to you. Cod is usually so beautiful because you can see the fillets, how the flesh is so chunky, it flakes off. It's got a good meaty texture to it. This is what I love. Pop this in the fridge. It is done. All right, so skim off some scum, and we're gonna crank up the herbs back up again. Get that nice and hot. The tomatoes start to leach out some water. Deglaze the pot as well. Now the fish stock is done. We're gonna add it into our pot of vegetables. Now it's time for seasoning, okay? What makes it sour? We've got our beautiful limes, okay? Slice that in half, juice it, roll it, get those cells broken up. Some sweetness into it because Asian dishes are all about complexity and layers of flavor, so some brown sugar or palm sugar. Of course, salt. And the secret key ingredient is, ta-da! A bit of chicken powder. It's a bit of a cheat, I know, but since this is not a vegan dish, we're gonna use this. It's got a bit of MSG, I know, and real chicken. I didn't know that. I thought it was like, it didn't exist. That's good, right? So this is a really quick soup. We've already cooked out the vegetables. It's already fragrant. And all that liquid now is absorbing all of that. It's emulsifying. It's all emulsifying and infusing. Gonna add some salt. Season with a bit of brown sugar, maybe a couple of tablespoons. And of course, our key ingredient, chicken powder. I know that's a lot, but trust me, you'll need it. Like twice. And then probably like 4 times with this amount of soup. That quick stir. Let that boil for about a good 10 minutes. I don't want to over season it. If not, it'll be too salty, unbalanced. And for me, it actually needs a little bit more acidity. So I'm going to grab 2 more limes and add them in towards the end. So while that's reducing down, let's start working on our garnishes. I've got some fresh Thai basil and some coriander leaves. And we'll add this into the soup at the very end. Or, if you want, just as you serve it. There's no refined cooking in this. This is all about home. This is what I love to eat, what I love to cook when I was filming for MasterChef. Because being away, especially during COVID, everyone's locked down. I can't go back to Sydney, so what really reminds me of home is this dish, so it means a lot to me growing up with it. A little good indicator to know when it's nicely cooked as well, or when the soup is ready, is to find that garlic and have a little bite. So when it's nice and jammy and sweet, that's when it's almost ready. All right, so final touches, it's reduced quite a bit. You can add a bit more salt, final seasoning. You're kind of aiming for something that's herbaceous, fragrant, not too sweet, actually very little sweetness. And it's more towards the sour. All right, that's done. That's boiling. Heat off. Now it doesn't take long for fish to cook at all. Take it off completely into the board. Let it sit for a bit, let the water settle down, and then I'm gonna add our fish. That's gonna cool the soup right down as well, because the fish is still a bit cold. And make sure it's completely submerged. Once the fish is perfectly cooked, you can take it out, put it into a plate, take some of the soup, some of the vegetables, then keep the rest of the soup for another time. Okay, now let's check up on our rice. Perfectly cooked. So let's say like 1 cup dry rice. I love rice cookers. It's just so essential. So the kind of rice balls that we have at Monkey, we use a wet spoon and then kind of shake it. There you go. Rice is done, and then the fish should be perfectly cooked in the next couple of minutes. All right. So I've got one of the fish here. You can kind of actually tell when the skin starts to peel off, just like that. That's when it's done.
Wow.
That only took 5 minutes. So let's put this fish in. Maybe put a couple on. There is my little food trick. So easy to peel. Get a couple of fillets on. Let's get a couple of chilies in as well. Some of the tomatoes, get the garlic, get the herbs in. And I promise you, this is what I eat at home. I don't do fancy food all the time. Some of the soup. This is home to me. Lastly, let's add our coriander, some of the Thai basil, and there you have it. My winter warmer, my home, yellow fish soup. All right, guys, so that was it. That was my recipe for my yellow fish soup. I did mess up. I wish I kind of showed you guys what my brother thought about it. I gave it to my grandma earlier this afternoon, and she loved it. She messaged me she loved it, so which is good. That's good news. Now I'm gonna go to dinner and have some omakase sushi. And the dinner begins. I'm getting red already.
I'm not red.
Alright, as red as I am.
Yeah, I'll use pepper.
What's this?
It's time for nigiri.
You know the
Obviously, I can't drink. I can't drink. I go too red.
Do you have the one bottle?
Subscribe, like, oh shit.
Okay, we can drink it.
Subscribe, like, and see you guys.